Hi everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Make a Website series. In episode 1, we did all the planning, and today we are actually going to execute and build the website. We're using a tool called Webflow. If you've tried Webflow and think it's too complicated, if you have no design skills, or if you've never even heard of this tool called Webflow, I got you. We're going to dive right in and we're going to learn how simple it is to make a website. Let's do this. My name is Romy and welcome back to Make Something with Romy. In this channel, we go over all the things you can make online without knowing how to design or code. So let's do a recap of the first video. That fateful day when I decided I need a website for this YouTube channel. And you know what? Instead of diving in and building a bad website, we properly planned it first. So one mind-blowing concept we learned in the previous video is that when you're designing a website, you just think of it as a box within a box within a box, and your job is to just position the boxes. So what I decided for my website was I needed to divide it into 5 possible sections. We'll start with the navigation bar, which can take you to other sections of the website, an introduction, which is going to tell you a little bit more about myself, a video section, which showcases some of the videos of the YouTube channel, an about section, an FAQ, and finally, a footer. So here's what I'm going to do when building the homepage of my website. Number 1, we'll learn how to pick a template to suit our needs. Number 2, we'll then add some content to the website. In my case, it's some copy and videos. Third, we'll do some basic styling. And finally, we'll make it responsive, which means we'll format it to fit your iPad, your mobile, and your laptop. And we'll call it a day. So fair warning here. The learning curve on Webflow is high. Their FAQs are called Webflow University. I spent 4 years getting a university degree. I'm not doing this for a tool. If you look at this video on their FAQ or the university page, it's a 4-hour video to even start building a website. No, this is not happening. I don't have the time or patience for this. Now, if you're like me and you don't have the patience either, let's just explore by diving straight in. Let's do this.
And here I am, I'm looking at the free templates. The reason I like templates is that there is some structure for you already, and you don't have to think about everything from scratch, which is great. The thing I don't like about templates is that some of them can be hard to customize. Now, when you look at a template, usually the most obvious instinct is to reach out for the most shiny looking one, the most prettiest, colorful, but sometimes it's actually not the right way to go. Now, here's my thinking. So for example, this purple one stands right out. When I look at a template, what I am looking for is what part of it are custom assets. By custom assets, I mean what part of it are elements which are custom to that template, like the logo, maybe some cool illustrations and product screenshots. Then my next question is, are any of those actually usable in your website? Most likely they won't be. I do not have a logo, so immediately remove this. I see that I will definitely not have this beautiful inclined mobile view, which is adding most of the depth to the template. I will not have this image again. I will not have this image again. I won't have this image. I won't have this image. These icons will not make sense, in mine. Now, that's the key to template selection, is to be able to visualize a template without the custom assets and then seeing how it would look with your elements. Bottom line, do not get distracted by the shiniest object while picking templates. That's the reason I'm not going with this template. So let's go back again. I don't want a retail template. There's no store, there's nothing like that right now. So no, all the retail templates are out of question. So what we're looking at is simple templates, which are not blogs, but something like a business template would work. Something that is like this could potentially work. Another great resource to find templates is a site called Flowbase. This is specifically for Webflow templates. I have been looking into templates a long time ago, but this is the template I'm going to go with. And this is the reason, because when I imagine this site with mine, I can see it fitting in. I can see it working with it, right? There can be an about me here, an FAQ maybe. These can be different videos, something about myself and how to contact me. I don't know, I just think this is super easy. It's super simple to start with. And it's not like super simple but extremely bland. It's got a little bit of character, and then I think I can add like some of my personality. So let's see if we can do this. So what I'm going to do is clone this project. Cloning is just another fancy word for copy. Okay, I don't know why, but a lot of text speak has more complicated words, and one day I wish I could just replace it with very simple ones. Roby's dandy project? What nonsense. Okay, we'll call it like the make something landing page LP. Okay, create project. There we are. Now look, before we get started, maybe one or two things about Webflow. Okay, I don't want this to be overwhelming. Now I'm no Webflow expert. I'm just giving you a small intro to the tool. There's a sidebar over here which we are going to be playing with a lot. The first thing, which is probably a good idea in Webflow, is to look at how the project is structured, right? Because a template may not be the way you would structure it. So you have to customize the template for your need almost, right? The navigator essentially highlights all the sections of the page. If I'm going to the hero heritage, this is like the first section here. Then we have like a timeline section. Then we have a startup section. Then the about me. So I think I have a good overview of the page. A Webflow site is made up of elements. An element is simply anything you can think of placing on a website. It could be text, videos, boxes, forms. The Elements tab is grouped by elements of the same section. So layouts in one place, typography in one place, all media in one place, and then forms. Now, one of the most common elements we will be using is a div. A div is essentially a container or a box. The most common use of a div is to group other elements together. Remember, everything is made up of boxes. It's going to come in handy a lot later on. The pages actually tell you the number of pages on the site. We're just dealing with the one-page site here. We'll not be dealing with a CMS. A CMS, or a content management system, is a way any dynamic content in your site can be maintained. So if you make updates to the database, which is a CMS, it'll update all other parts of the site where it's referenced automatically. And these are all the images, all the assets, which the site already uses. And this is settings. Now, clicking on any element in Webflow brings up this right panel, which is the style panel. And the style panel, as the name suggests, contains ways in which you can style a particular element or elements within that element. Now, let's look at some of the sections here. The layout, because we're using a template, we will not be using the layout that much. But if I was building it from scratch, I definitely would be using the layout. Then comes the spacing. Now, this is something we're going to use a lot. Spacing is the padding, which is the space inside the element. And then there's margin, which is the space outside the element. Then, of course, comes the size. I think it explains itself. Size is the width, height, maybe the minimum width, maybe the maximum width. One of the key properties here is something called overflow. Now, by default, the overflow is set to visible, which means that if the content is bigger than the container it is in, it will display it. But I think one key part in styling is setting the overflow as hidden. And this way, what will happen is, for example, if your content is bigger than the container it's in, it'll cut it off. And you'll see this more as we style videos. Then, of course, is a position. Because we're also, again, using a template, we do not have to mess with the position. But it comes in handy when we are talking about elements which will overlap, for instance, or fixing a certain element. Then is a typography. Pretty basic. You can align, change the font, weight, size, color. And of course, there's some more advanced type options. Then there are backgrounds. Any element, you can change the background, add gradients. Then there are borders. And then, of course, there are the advanced effects. You can change things like the opacity, add box shadows, and then transitions. So that's like the quickest intro to the style panel ever. But I'm just going to be talking more about the ones which I'll be using later on. Honestly, my approach isn't like let's study this in detail before we get started. I like diving in first, and that's precisely what we're going to do. Okay, so all remember is boxes, and we have to like figure out like how to like position all the boxes so it can come together in a page. So let's dive in and edit now. Okay, so what I did beforehand was I created a document with all the sections and some copy I'd like to put in each. I highly recommend you do the same for your websites. So here it goes. This is section 1 for intro on videos. Section 3 is like an about section. Section 4 is an FAQ. And finally, there's a section 5, which is the contact section. All right, so let's start by editing the top navigation bar here. So instead of startups, I'll call it videos. Let's make a simple logo with just the text name of the channel for now. And so you see how when I point my cursor to the place where the template's logo is, it shows me the name of the box or the div. It's called content logo. So let's go search where this is in the left panel navigation. And then within this, let me add a div. Then within this div, I'm going to add a text. All right. Then just call it make something with Romy. Okay, actually let me look at its original site. The tool I'll use to understand what are the fonts and font sizes in the original template is called What Font. It's a Chrome browser extension. I'll leave a link in the description below. Okay, great. We have a logo. It's not perfect, but it's a start. Now the devil is in the details. So I think I can make the logo look even better by slightly adjusting the size of the black background around it. So to change the style, you got it. I select the black box element, go to the right side style panel, and in the size section, I can change the width. Now this section is called the hero section. It's the first section you see, and that's why I usually name as hero. Right now, I don't want this. So to replace this text, let's refer to the copy doc and see what text I wanted in this section. Hi there, my name is Romy. Maybe I can highlight my name, right? That's a cool touch. Then what am I saying? I'm on a journey this year to build things online without knowing how to design or code. Right? Maybe I can try and highlight this. Okay, so let's move forward for now. One thing which you kind of notice when you start going down is that, like the pages are alternating. It's like white, then there's some gray, then there's white again. I think the main section I need to tackle are the video ones. Let me change the easy sections first, like these text sections at the bottom. I like changing the easy ones first because you know what? You kind of feel you've made progress. As simple as that. A little bit myself. All right, let me just copy paste this. Okay, that looks like a decent about me. Let's scroll down. Let's chat about your upcoming project. Not really. Let's chat about what you're making and any sponsorship requests. Money is always welcome. And this is my email. It's romymishra@gmail.com. .studio. I'm hearing that for the first time. All right. Now I can just change and this is just my address. I'm not giving my address. Sorry, I always love this. Made in love. Made with love. In San Francisco, California. Now, here's a cool thing about elements. You can repurpose them. So for the logo in the footer, I just navigate to the logo div in the header and we'll copy that here. Simple as that. I like it. Now, let's just rework the sections a little bit, right? So maybe it's going to be this first section. Then I'm thinking I'll go right into the videos first. Then I will have the about. Then there'll be an FAQ and then the contact, right? So let's just go and rework this a little bit, right? So the videos section, I'll move upwards. The timeline section is actually the FAQ. I want the about before. So let's just move the about. Then the FAQ. then we have a contact, and then we have a footer. Okay, remember how the background was alternating between white and gray in each section? By changing the order of the sections, we must fix that. Here, the video section should be gray, and About Me should be white. Let's make that happen. I'm going to change the background of this to a white. Okay. Then let's change the FAQ section now. It's another simple text section, so I can use the text from my copy doc. It's simply a matter of copying over the text. So I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to do a time jump and show you how it looks after I copy all the text in. Ready? And now, ta-da! See, the section looks great now. So now we have a lot of sections done, except this main one. Okay, now is the most important thing. Let's add the videos. Okay, so now I have to do the video section. Here's the thing, right? So let me go back to this navigator. If you see here, the template actually pulls from the CMS, the database we talked about, which has the image assets stored in it. Now, for my purpose, I don't really need a CMS for now, so I won't try and edit this. What's easier is I'll clone the section so I can refer to it and make the new one look as similar as possible. Let's try it. Okay, so I essentially made two copies of this section, right? The second copy is only just for reference. Essentially, I can just edit the title in my cloned section and delete the rest. Let's start from scratch. I think I'm going to keep this layout and have 4 videos. What I can experiment with is having a grid. And back to the style panel to change the gap between the grid boxes. You see how the panel has changed to show only the relevant options for a grid? That's so cool. Done. Then I actually want the grid width to be 100%. All right, now that looks better. Let's break this down. There are 4 sections of a grid, and each section will be like in a div box, right? And within that div box, there will be 1 video, 1 title, and some text. Cool. I'll just go back to the navigator, and within the grid, I'll start having a div. All right, that's a div block. Within that div block, then I am going to have first a YouTube element, right? Then below that, I want to have a title. So let's just call a heading. Okay. And below that, I want to have some text. That's it. This entire thing, I want to replicate across this grid, right? On 4 parts. So copy pasting is my friend. Cool. So that's how it looks. So those are all the 4 videos. Oh yeah, and this container, I need the background to be gray, because remember, we were alternating with the backgrounds. There you go. So you see, white, gray. So now it's time for another fun time jump, because no one wants to get bored seeing me copy and paste video links. So ready? And now, here we go. Wow, that's so cool. Now let's do this really quick. All right. So this is why I'd get the other one for reference. So if I want my video headings to look exactly like this one, there's a cool shortcut way. Let's talk about classes in Webflow. So I click on this and I can go and see what classes are assigned to this right here at the top of the style panel. a.k.a. That's a typo, but maybe I can apply the same classes here, right? So let's try that. My darling section a.k.a. and startups. There you go. So see, it already inherited those properties. And now I do the same for the other 3 videos in my grid. And time jump there. Now, one thing which I have noticed here is that there's like some space, you know, and that's kind of what I want to do. Like, so let me go back here, and within that H1, let's just add some top margin. It looks so much better. And you see this cool thing? You see how I changed it in one place and I changed it in all the other 4 grids? So that's really cool. And now I do the same for the other 3 videos in my grid. And time jump there. This is looking good. Now essentially the only thing I would change right now is just trying to make the width of these videos a little bit shorter, smaller, right? So let me just go back to the grid. Let's just try playing with some margins, some padding, and let's see how this looks, okay? How about I get 50 padding on either side? That looks so much, not so much in your face, right? See, I'm no designer, but just whenever you're giving like just try and make things look symmetrical, right? It's not like, oh, one side it's 50, the other side is 60, right? Okay, see, that looks so much better, right? So let me go back here, and I think I can delete the second section now. All right, you know what? It kind of looks like a make something site now. I have videos and about, and these are all the videos, and then this is about myself, and these are some questions I hope someone asks me, and my email. What I'm going to do is actually add my channel intro. This is title container. How about over here I add a div? All right, now within a div block I want to add not a video. Okay, let's see how this looks. Oh my god, sounds ages ago. And I'm just going to play around with these two elements to make it look better, adjusting the size and margins. All right, that looks so much better. Let's see how this whole thing looks. I have a website. It's a basic website. It's a basic landing page, not too fancy, and it's done. The current landing page looks like this, and one thing I noticed right away is I think I want to make these videos look more professional. And one way to usually make boxes look professional is to like round the corners and add like a light drop shadow to them. So let's do that. Let's do some video styling. So I'll go back. This is the video itself. On the video, if I start rounding the corners, it doesn't work. To style videos in Webflow, you actually have to put them in a container, then style that container itself. So for example, this is already in a container, this div block, and let me give it like an 8 pixel width, and then the other thing I'll do is add a block shadow, and maybe I'll make it gray. I actually opened up some, I want to give it like a light gray. See, it's still not looking rounded, and that's because although the video container has rounded the corners, the actual video itself overshadowing that. So we kind of need to make this contained within that container, and I'll show you what I mean by this very quickly. I need to select Overflow hidden. So what that will do is that you can see the round boxes here. I will go and do the same for these. If I look at the YouTube structure right now, the video itself is not in a div block. There is an overall container. But what I need to do is actually add a container which contains the video. And that way I can style it better. So let's go ahead and do that. So let me go to the navigator. Over here, I'm going to add another div and now put this YouTube part of this div block. There you go. All right, I need to do the same for all the others. Let's jump ahead of this too and go. There you go. You see that red outline for every div block there. The next thing I want to illustrate is the power of classes, right? And I don't think we've really seen that so far in Webflow. So if I go to the YouTube element and select the div block, I'm going to just give this a class, YouTube style. And any single change I will make on, one will actually be reflected on all four, which is actually a really cool thing to see. So we're just going to attach like a class here called YouTube style. All right, there you go. The first thing actually we'll do, we will first go and, make sure the overflow is selected to hidden. Video is contained within that div block. Now, let me go back and let me show you how the classes work in a very cool way. So let me add a border of, there you go. So there you see, all of them just got the snazzy border in 1 second. So that's the amazing thing about classes, right? Is you can just make a change in one and it gets affected on all. I actually don't want to give a border. I think what I'm just going to do is, do the same thing. Just give a border radius and all. Then let's add a drop shadow, a box shadow. So let's go back. That looks good. And then maybe a little bit bigger. That's good. Okay, so there you go. Videos are styled. Let's take a preview of the styled videos. See, rounded boxes. And it just gives the whole thing a way more professional look, Now, I want to show you another big feature before we actually hit a publish on the site is how we are going to make this responsive. Now, in general, responsiveness is how your site will look on different devices. So right now you can see this is like a desktop. This is a tablet. This is how the site will look. So you can see like this logo gets cut off here. Like look at these taglines, they get smushed up, which isn't great. And yeah, maybe this feels a little bigger for the size of an iPad, but like you can see, like it just shows something what the logo becomes something on the landscape version of mobile, and this is like the vertical version of mobile, which is again something great. And like look at the channel trainer, I can barely see it, and look at how smushed this is on the right end. I want to spend like the next few minutes actually just fixing this. Let's identify the fixing areas. So on the iPad version, we need to fix the logo over here. And then, of course, all the smushed up stuff here, right? And in the mobile version, the landscape version, of course, we need to fix the something, right? And then maybe I need to make this font a little tinier, right? That'll help. And then in the vertical version, that needs the most work, right? Fix the logo. What the channel trailer does not make sense here on mobile, so we can just hide it. And of course, like we need to fix all the spacing here. So let's get to work. Actually, let's tackle the easiest first. So let's go first to the header and the content logo, right? Let me just see. So maybe just make this 33%. There you go. So that looks much better already. And let me go down. So I can change this, right? So essentially what's happening is the title is going to the next line, and that overlaps with the description, the tagline. The way we can fix this is just by adding maybe some gap between the tagline and the title. So let's do that. And the good thing is, all of them have the same class. It applies in all 4 parts of the grid. Let me scroll down, and I just want to change this text. Honestly, it feels really big for an iPad. Yeah, that's better. Then we go to the next one. You know what? I can just hide this from this. You don't need to hide that. You hide the entire div because it has a drop shadow. There you go. So from that view, it's hidden. Let me go to the header. I need to change, and let's see. I'll put this in percentage again. No. Okay, 45%. I still think this is a little bigger, so what I can do is do 0.8. That's better. Let's go finally to the mobile. Again, I need to make this 45% of the entire width it contains. 75%. No. How about changing the... Okay, so we did like a mixture of 2 things, right? We changed the logo a little bit and we increased the height. Then we go down. Okay, you know what? This grid of 4 doesn't work in the mobile version. So what I can do, I should just have the videos one after the other, right? That makes more sense. So let's just go and edit the grid itself here. I don't need columns, right? So I can delete this column, and there you go. It's just one after the other. Done. And let's look at it in the mobile. So there you go. The site is responsive. Oops, we need to change the footer here. I can change the margin a little bit. So one final check. So I'm checking desktop here because, just to make sure this is the final check. Then this is iPad. That looks good. This is the landscape mobile. No more something. That looks good. And then finally the vertical mobile, which is probably one of the most challenging things to design for. And that looks really good. All right. Oh, One last thing here is the footer in the iPad looks a little messed up. I need to check the footer in all. Actually, let me just check the footer here. That's fine. All right. So the site is responsive. I think we're all set to hit publish. Now to publish something in Webflow, all you need to do is go to the publish button and you can publish on URL generated by Webflow. Okay, and it's very easy to add your custom domain. So say I have make something with romy.com. I can add it as well. But you know what? I don't think I want to add a custom domain just yet. I just want to show you how it looks published. So all you need to hit is publish here. Just wait for a long time. And then if I click here, so isn't that cool? We just built a responsive landing page in Webflow.
All right, that's a wrap. My channel finally has a website. I am so Webflowed out. Did I just make a new term? I know this is not the best looking website I can make. There are definitely more design improvements that can be done here. Maybe some snazzy animations, a sign up section for a newsletter, and I'm going to cover all this as I build it in my upcoming videos. Hit me up in the comments with what else you'd like to see in Webflow. Or if you've tried Webflow, tell me what you thought of it. Definitely be looking at other tools to make your website. So if Webflow's not your jam, I got you covered. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Romy, and I hope this week you aren't scared to make something.